You're listening to Becoming CEO, where we share our journeys as solo founders to becoming the CEO of seven-figure businesses.
And these are our behind-the-scenes conversations as we figure it out. And these are things that most people just aren't sharing.
Well, how was it?
It was good. For those watching video, wherever this gets posted on video, I'm tan, so I feel good about that. But yeah, I wish it was 2 days longer. Do you ever feel like I feel like on most trips, by the time I'm like, I really feel like my brain is like really plugging into vacation mode. It's like the next day I'm going home. And so it's almost like you need a vacation from the vacation. But so like I felt that a little bit, not as much as I normally feel it. But I did start reading that book that you recommended. Kind of dry.
I don't remember what book. What did I recommend?
Tinker, Dabble.
Dude, I'll try. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a dry beginning. But I did finish the book that I was reading. So I did read, because you didn't think I was going to have time for reading, but I did. But yeah, no, it was really good. I really needed it. We got a little bit of rain, which is a bummer. And then, so we flew out there, Denver to Hawaii, and we knew we were going to a warm climate, so we didn't bring jackets. Well, we came back, the day we came back, it was -5. So like I had to run to, and we got snow the night before we got back. So I basically ran from the terminal to my car, which almost didn't start because it was so cold, and then had to go pick my family back up at the baggage claim because it was so cold. We couldn't bring the kids out there because none of us had jackets. So outside of that, well worth the trip.
So before you left, we talked about the anxiety of going away. You're kind of tying up loose ends, preparing your team. Did anything happen that you weren't expecting to happen? Did the team need you? Did you check in? Were you blissfully just unplugged? Like what all happened there?
So like I said, I didn't bring my work computer. I don't have Slack on my phone. Nobody messaged me on Voxer, which is kind of like the, hey, tier 1, we need Greg, Vox him. Then if we have to go higher, we'll text him. No text, no Voxes. I have some notes that I do need to review from Lisa, who's like my number 2 that I talked about before. But nothing was that urgent. So that was cool. We rolled out some internal changes apparently while I was gone, which was great. That was scheduled, so clients are already liking that. So yeah, I didn't open. I brought my like work iPad, and I didn't even take it out of the bag. So was pumped about that. So yeah, I feel like I did a good job.
You didn't check Slack for a week.
No,
I can't get my head around that. I don't fundamentally understand what you're saying. It's not computing. I don't follow.
Dude, taking it off my phone. Well, I've had it off my phone for a little while now. Dude, the best thing ever. I will say, which I forget if we talked about in another episode. I started using Notion in this unique way with Lisa. It's called Slack 2.0, even though it's not Slack. I stole it from one of my former clients and we've made it better. And it's kind of like this hub where we go and we leave communications to each other that are meant to be consumed like the end of the day, the next morning. Like our main form of communication with each other is on this page inside of Notion. And it's cut out almost all of my need to be in Slack on a day-to-day basis. And so like the amount of noise that I was dealing with in Slack even before this trip is like next to nothing. So like not a lot of crazy stuff happens in Slack. Like Slack is, hey, if you get message in Slack, we're expecting something same day, like that same day communications. But so much of the stuff we're working on needs to be done. It's not like a same day communication. Like it's not conversational. It's asynchronous. So like it resides in this other place. And so, yeah, like it doesn't ping me. I don't get emails about it. It's perfect. And so, yeah, I was not in Slack. I don't think I logged into Slack at all. I was going to say I didn't log into Facebook. I did log into Facebook on my personal iPad, but I was just browsing just personal, random, seeing what other people were up to. We don't have any client facing stuff in there. So, yeah,
So you had weaned yourself off of Slack essentially before this, so therefore logging into Slack wasn't.
It wasn't crazy. I didn't look at any metrics.
Did you think about it?
Yes.
Did you wonder what revenue's at for the month?
Yeah, but before I left, we were like 1 or 2 sales away from our target. And
that makes vacation easier.
Like I wasn't going in feeling like we were needy or anything. So that I think helped.
I wish we could all time our vacations for when we're like right about to hit the target for the month. Wouldn't that be nice? Right?
Yeah, that would be great. Actually, it's like, so shouldn't they all kind of be at the beginning of the month or the end of the month? I don't know. It kind of depends on how your months typically start and stop. But one thing I think I was journaling this morning of like kind of ahas and lessons because I knew we were going to talk about this. And I don't know what this says about me. So hopefully, put your therapy hat on and let me know. But I feel like I came back and I still kind of don't want to go back to work. Whereas I feel like before I am like historically I come back and I'm like ready. Like, and I said before we left, like there's a lot of things going on that I'm excited to be working on, but like none of them are like, they have to be done this second sort of thing. And so I feel like I truly enjoyed the vacation. Like I was as present as I've probably ever been on a vacation and came back and I'm like, I could do more of this. Like I need and want more of this, like where I don't feel stressed. I'm not concerned about XYZ number or metric. And that's not to say like we're doing freaking great. Like there's a lot of things we need to improve that I want to improve on, but I just wasn't anxious to get back. Like it'll get fixed, like work is always going to be there sort of feeling. And part of me is like, do I feel guilty that I feel this way? And I don't. And the aha was, well, there must be something going on that I'm not that excited about, that I'm not anxious to get back to it. And I haven't quite figured out what that is yet, because when I do, I'm going to either kill it or change it. Like there's something that I'm like, man, like I could use another week of just not thinking about work or wanting to work or any of that. And what does that mean about how I've designed things right now? Or is this just like, I just really needed another week of truly disconnecting? I don't know. So I'm thinking about that right now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So are you just not excited to go back, or are you dreading going back, or somewhere in between?
I'd say somewhere in between, but I wouldn't be like dramatically. It wouldn't be like exactly in the middle of those, because there's nothing I'm like the opposite side of dread, but I'm not like super excited yet to go back. And we have like our client event, not this coming week, but the following week, which I know will be a fun event. And I planned most of it already. So like, I'm not like coming back to scrambling. So I feel like I was probably the most prepared coming back from a vacation, that I'm not like having to scramble to get anything done. There's no like major initiative that is being finished and or just about to get started that I'm like is top of mind that I'm like concerned about. not by design by any means, just like it just happened that way. But I don't know. But part of me is asking myself, I think I made this comment the last episode. Like I've been getting more and more clear about what I want, and more so admitting what I want. And there's a few things which I'm not necessarily willing to share just yet that I'm like, I have like maybe these feelings have reaffirmed some of those things, and I'm like figuring out if I'm gonna like try that on a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, you got perspective, right? So I think it's possible that it just wasn't long enough. When's the last time you took a vacation?
Like that before COVID.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like we've done
like
we do like weekend trips to Steamboat, and like we've done like, yeah, but like nothing like the whole family's going completely not completely disconnected, but like we're out there on the beach most of the day. You know, you're in the pool, like you can't be, you know, on your phone, you know, all the time. The number of times I went down a lot of water slides, I'll tell you that. Like a lot of water slide action was had during this trip. That like I couldn't just be on my phone.
It could be as simple as it wasn't long enough, or you don't do it frequently enough, and it probably wasn't long enough because you don't do it frequently enough.
Yes.
Like to your point of like once your brain sounds like it took a few days, which it doesn't surprise me, to like switch gears, like switch context from work context to stress-free, worry-free vacation mode. Yes. And by the time you really got acclimated to the new environment, it was pretty much almost over because you were there for what, 5 days probably?
5 nights, yeah.
So that's probably what happened, right? It's like you were just kind of getting comfortable and like easing into it. And then you had to come back and you were like, oh, I wish I had a few more days, maybe another week. And chances are if you'd stayed for like 10 days, which I think is, you know, it's challenging in many respects, not only for work, you know, both work schedules, kids, school, etc. Right. Yeah. But if you had stayed for longer, or if you do this more often, then you'll likely adjust to vacation mode faster just by repetition. Like if you did this every quarter, for example, take a week every quarter, after a couple of times, by day 2, you're most likely fully in vacation mode because it becomes a muscle. You just get used to it.
So you're saying I need to take more vacations, which I agree with.
I'm saying that for myself too, right? Because I'm absolutely the pot calling the kettle black here, right? Like that's my problem too. I'd like to be, as I say this out loud, I don't know why I'm not. I'd like to take a week every quarter. That would be my goal.
So one of the feelings that I have that I will share is I think I enjoyed. By the way, have you been to Hawaii?
No.
Okay, so first of all, I've never been either, and we were in Oahu, North Shore. Really, the resort was amazing. Like part of it kind of feels like you're in. No disrespect to Hawaii, like part of it feels like you're in like a third world country, like the housing situation. Like we drove by some schools, and I'm like, whoa, like I could not imagine my kid being in a school like that. And I don't say that from like an elitist perspective because my kid's in public school. But whoa, like the island life was interesting. But that being said, I loved the not having a device around me, not being connected to a device, the sound of just like waves and being outside. And like part of me is like, I just don't know if I'm that driven to hit some of the goals that I've said that I wanted to hit. Like, I just don't know if they care they matter that much to me. That's like kind of and I don't know why this trip, I mean, that kind of is like solidifying some of the things that I have been thinking about on the clarity side earlier. But like, I don't know, like, I just don't know if I want certain things that I've been saying I wanted or like gunning for what I wanted. And so maybe that's why I'm not as driven, like feeling like I'm like ready to hop back in, because it's like hopping back into this thing that's like kind of like meh. It could happen, it couldn't happen. I don't think I care either way, which is probably not a good thing to say as a leader, but also at the same time, I don't care because like I want what I want. And so I don't know, maybe that's why I'm not so like anxious to hop back in, because I'm like still trying to formalize some of these thoughts.
Arguably, that's the perfect attitude to actually achieve the goals. If you're a little bit detached from them, and you don't really feel like a strong need to be there, but there's some desire, like, yeah, that would be cool, but you don't feel like you have to do it. Arguably, that's exactly where you want to be.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, if you think about your goal right now, whatever the goal is, right? And if you just ignore the path to getting there, ignore what you might think needs to be sacrificed or done to get there, and just pretend you got there. Yeah. Is it cool? Do you like it? Do you like being there?
Here's an example of one of the thoughts.
Okay.
Was like, and I actually said this to my wife sitting at the pool. I was like, because my wife's not on Facebook, my wife's not on Instagram. And like, I'm like jealous of both of like that she's able to do that. And I'm like, the only reason I'm really on Facebook is for paid ads, period. Full stop. And I'm like, what would my business have to look like to thrive without paid ads? Like that was the question that came up, which I think is actually a healthy question to be asking. Just not that like I'm going to stop ad spend because like we obviously need it. And I like leads coming in on autopilot, but like, can I disconnect fully from social media presence while still running ads? And, or what if I had to cut out Facebook? Because like I think I've said this before, like we are definitely dependent upon Facebook for lead gen. Despite how much I want more of the organic to pull. But like, if say I got like, here's a perfect situation that happened right before I was leaving. Like I'm in the airport, like we're getting ready to leave. I got one of those fake phishing emails from Facebook saying my Facebook ad account had been suspended, and reached out to the team. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is phishing, but part of me was like hoping that I actually was suspended, because then I just have to figure it out.
So hold on. This may be a tangent, but I'm curious. Why do you need to be on Facebook? Because you run ads. I don't understand the connection there.
I probably don't.
Maybe a separate topic.
Yeah.
I run ads just like you, and I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not on Instagram, and I'm not on LinkedIn ever for anything, period. I have my personal Instagram account, which you follow me on. That's a private account. I don't use that for business.
My wife's been asking me to have a personal account.
Oh, that makes a world of a difference. I've got a business account. I've got a personal account. My personal account's got 100 followers. It's private. It's only people that I know personally. If anybody else tries to follow me there that I don't have a personal relationship with, they get ignored. And there's a business account that broadcasts content that I don't check ever.
I might do that.
Facebook, I don't even know how to log in. I don't know what. I don't even know. I don't even know my password.
We have this free Facebook group for our community, like that. There's 7,000 people in there. I think there's like 2,000 of which are engaged. It feels more of like an obligation than like an asset, to be honest. And I'm like, I would love do I need it? Probably not. Does it help the business? Maybe. Could it live somewhere else? 100%. And if I got off of that, I don't think I would actually need to be in Facebook. But anyway, I started thinking of like, what are all the things that I'm not excited about in the business that I think maybe were why I'm not like ready to come back in. And for some reason, dealing with the, I'll say annoyance, even though sometimes it's not annoying and I don't have to deal with it that much, of paid ads, like the reliance. I'm like, I just like, F that. Like, F that. Like, I just wish I could just cut it out, which maybe I will. I have no idea. But anyway, that's like where I'm at the moment. I'm going to continue my journaling on this now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, but it doesn't sound like it doesn't sound like you fundamentally have an issue with paying money for leads. It sounds like you have an issue with some of the stuff that comes with the territory that perhaps you could do without and still pay money for leads.
Yes, yeah, totally. Like, I look at it as different from, because I was just having this conversation with somebody else. Like, there's one of my friends who's like really big into outbound is like, dude, you should just be doing outbound. Like, and I literally despise the cold calls and cold emails that I get. And for whatever it's worth, like, I just don't want to be that. I don't want to be that ever. Now, if it's like cold calling someone that just gave me their phone number to see something that they opted in for, I think that's different. I would much rather do that.
It's like, not a cold call.
It's not a cold call. Even though I know ads are fundamentally the same thing. I'm interrupting someone, cold call, interrupting someone, same thing. But getting emails in my inbox or phone calls to me is different than ads, like an ad platform. And so like it kind of like the paid ads to outbound is kind of where I was going with that. But the point you just made is very valid. Like, I can probably still do some of these things and still remove myself in a way where it works. But nonetheless, that's probably another topic.
Well, I think the interesting thing is that from your vacation and from unplugging on vacation, which you did admirably well, kudos, congratulations, pats on the back, high fives, right? What you got is perspective on the things that bother you about the business. And it could be little things like logging into Facebook. It could be bigger things potentially, right? But you got perspective on these things kind of bother me. I don't like them. I don't feel excited about them.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic perspective, right? Because you were probably numb to it before. You didn't realize it bothered you because it was so entrenched into your day-to-day. You just do these things over and over and over again. And you probably stopped noticing it was annoying until you stepped out, took a vacation, stopped doing everything, and now coming back to it, you've got a heightened awareness on what you like and what you don't like, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think that points out the couple day fog that you were talking about. Like, normally it takes a couple days, even if it takes a couple days, which is why, like, up until this vacation, even taking a 4-day weekend still isn't long enough. Like, it's just not enough time for some of that stuff to happen. And yeah, it's definitely been a really long time since it's been longer than a long weekend and a truly true vacation versus like a getaway weekend. So maybe, I don't know, if you're listening and you haven't taken a vacation in a while and you're like, oh, but like I take off, long weekends, it might not be enough. Like, it might not be an extreme enough of a disconnect for you to like process some of these things.
Well, you've got some homework because next episode we are going to talk about the things that you are changing in the business to align with your new heightened realizations and awareness about what you like and what you don't like. So you got to.
What are we going to talk about with you?
To figure it out. Well, when I take a vacation, we'll talk about it.
Is this a series of Greg on the hot seat? What the hell?
It is. It is. That's what happens when you go for Hawaii and live a more interesting life than me. We're going to talk about you. Okay.
Hey, fine. I'll take homework. I need homework. I'll do it.
All right. See you next time.